Didik TV KPM.
What? I'm so confused. What's the difference between these two papers?
Chris?
Yes, hi teacher.
Why are you looking so confused?
Yes, I'm just not sure what's the difference between 12/1 and 12/2 between these two question papers.
Okay, we are going to look at 12/1 and 12/2 shortly after this.
Okay, so we're looking at this and then this one. Hi everyone, welcome to Pentaksiran Sumatif with me Chris MJ as your host only on Didik TV KPM, and today is our very first time where we will be discussing Bahasa Inggeris Menengah Rendah, and our guest for today is none other than Miss Hafi. Hi Miss Hafi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, so this is your first time right here?
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to the Didik TV studio. Now, before we proceed with today's discussion, I also want to welcome Cikgu Shida as our sign language interpreter for today's episode. Thank you very much, Cikgu Shida. Okay, so without wasting any more time, Miss Hafi, what are we going to discuss for today's episode?
Okay, for today's episode, we are going to look at Ujian Akhir Sesi Akademik Menengah Rendah,
Alright.
English language format, beginning year 2022.
Okay.
Okay, for your information, Chris,
Yeah.
this paper is set to be aligned with the Common European Framework of Reference, the CEFR.
Alright.
Okay, so what the paper, before I explain further about the paper, I would like to expose everyone
Yeah.
to the subject aims and objectives.
Sure.
Okay, English language curriculum is derived from,
Maybe you could share with us what are some subject aims for English language paper before we proceed.
For subject aims, the subject aims for the students to be able to communicate with each other, to be well versed with literacy,
Alright.
as well as to enable the students to make decisions through critical and analytical thinking, and finally to enable the students to collaborate with others.
Okay, so there are 4 subject aims. And what about the objectives, Miss?
Okay, for the objectives, the student should be able to understand meaning, to recognize features of spoken genres. Not only that, Chris, the students should be able to communicate information and use strategies to construct meaning.
Okay.
Besides this, the students are going to explore and expand
Yep.
their ideas, as well as responding to the literary text. And next, the students should be able to communicate through print and digital media. As well, they should be able to communicate appropriately. And finally, Chris, for them to appreciate and inculcate values.
Okay, so these are the 9 subject objectives for the English paper. Okay.
Alright, moving on to the assessment objective. Okay, Chris, for assessment objective, these objectives are derived from the English language curriculum and also aligned with the CEFR. Okay, the assessment objective is aimed for the students to test the students' ability to correspond and collaborate, meaning that they should be able to interact with each other for different purposes, for the students to understand and process information from various sources, also to test student ability to use information in spoken or written form, as well as responding to variety of texts.
Okay.
Okay, the student also should be tested on their ability to be creative and
Alright.
imaginative. And finally, Chris, for the student to use their grammar knowledge effectively and correctly.
All right. Thank you very much, Miss. But my question still remains. What's the difference between 12/1 and 12/2?
Okay, 12/1 will be for reading and use of English. For 12/2 is writing paper.
All right. All right. So these are there you go. So 12/1 and 12/2. All right. Thank you so much for answering my question and settling my confusion. Okay. So before we proceed any further for today's discussion, is it okay if we take a short break?
Okay, Chris.
All right. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Pentaksiran Sumatif only on Didik TV KPM. Hi everyone, I'm Chris MJ and you are watching Pentaksiran Sumatif and today we're discussing Bahasa Inggeris Menengah Rendah together with Miss Hafi.
Okay.
Alright, so in this segment, Miss Hafi, what is going to be our focus?
Okay, we are going to focus on Ujian Akhir Sesi Akademik for paper reading and use of English 12/1.
Alright, 12/1.
Okay. For reading and use of English for 12/1, it consists of 40 questions. Okay, and there are variety of task types. Okay, there are MCQs, error corrections, information transfer, as well as short answer questions and gap text. Okay. So all these type of questions they are distributed into 5 parts.
5 parts.
Okay, and all these questions they are going to answer them to be completed within 1 hour and 30 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, this test is set to be at A2 to B1 levels of the CFR, and all questions are going to be answered on the answer sheet.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so now let's look at part 1. So what are the students going to respond in part 1? Okay, there are 8 MCQ questions by referring to short text.
Alright.
Okay, so this part is aimed for the students to identify and understand main points, specific details, as well as guessing the meaning of unfamiliar words. Okay, so now let's look at the sample question.
Okay.
Okay, so Chris, as you can see here, there is an advertisement. Okay, the question and the options.
Alright.
Okay, besides having advertisement in part 1, you are going to see other types of short text. It could be notice, labels, or even communicative messages.
Okay.
Okay, alright, Chris, I would like you to try this question.
Oh, okay. So based on the question, I will have to analyze the advertisement.
Yeah.
And choose the true
Options.
the options.
Yeah.
Okay, A, B, or C. Okay, I think it's C, teacher. It's large. A large pizza at 12 p.m. You get a smaller one free based on the advertisement. Is what I get.
Okay, correct, Chris.
Yes.
Okay, because it's stated here buy 1 large pizza. Okay, get one regular pizza for free. Okay, so if only applicable at 12 until 3.
All
so that's right, correct. Okay.
Nice.
All right, nice try. Okay,
Okay.
moving on to part 2.
All right.
Okay, in part 2, the students are going to be tested to to read an extended text consists of 8 questions. Where in this part 2, they are going to do error corrections.
Oh.
Okay, so let's look at the sample item now, Chris. Okay, here are the sample question for part 2. The students are going to be reading a text, and this text, there's a title up there to give them the idea of what the text is going to be.
I see.
Okay, and as you can see, Chris, there are words that have been underlined.
Yeah.
Okay, numbering 9 until 16.
Why are they underlined, Miss?
Those are the errors.
Oh, okay.
So then they are going to write the correct version of the word into the tables. Okay. Sorry, into the columns. Okay, as you can see, Chris, there is number 0 there.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the example on how the question should be attempted.
Oh, so instead of but, the actual correction should be and, A-N-D.
Yes,
so that's where they write
that's
down.
connecting between two ideas.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Yep, clear.
Is that clear, Chris?
Very clear.
All
Thank you very
right.
much, Miss.
Okay, so we are going to move on to part 3.
All right.
Okay, for part 3, the students are going to read an extended text slightly longer than part 2.
All right.
And they are going to transfer information from the text into a table or a mind map.
I see.
Okay, and there are going to be 8 questions altogether in part 3.
So what is being tested here, Miss?
Okay, what being tested here, mainly the same. Okay, we are going to look at main points, specific details, as well as recognize attitude or the opinion of the writer in the text.
Okay.
Okay, so let's look at the sample question. Okay, Chris, you could see there's a text here on the right and the table on the left.
Yes.
Okay, the students are going to read the text, and with the help of the words prepared in the table, they are going to locate the information to be written here.
Okay. Is there a specific order? So these phrases are from the text.
Yes,
Okay.
not from the text,
Oh.
but to give the clue, the hint on where to find the information here.
Okay, understood.
Okay, and Chris, in order to write the answers, the student should not write more than 5 words per answer.
All right, everyone take note of that, okay? Not more than 5 words.
Yes. Okay, however, Chris, another reminder, for Form 1, they are going to transfer information into table. For Form 2, into mind map. However, for Form 3, it could be a table or a mind map.
Okay, understood.
Okay, remember, not more than 5 words.
Not more than 5 words. Okay, got it.
Alright, moving on to part 4. Okay, in part 4, the students are going to read an extended text and to give short answers based on the question given. However, Chris, there's a difference between Form 1 and Form 2 and Form 3.
Okay.
For Form 1, the students are going to have 8 questions, okay, and they are going to have short answer questions and true-false task type.
Miss, why is there a different task if we look on the slide in Form 1 compared to Form 2 and Form 3?
Okay, there's a difference due to the A2 level, the CFR levels. Because A2 level for Form 1 requires them to have simpler task types.
I see.
Compared to Form 2 and Form 3, they're already entering B1, so they have more difficult tasks.
Okay, understood.
Alright, so Form 2 and Form 3, they are going to answer 10 questions, and they are going to have short answer questions together with vocabulary questions.
Okay.
So let's look at the sample item, yeah, Chris?
Sure.
Okay, here is the sample item for Form 1. Okay, as you could see on the left, okay, there is a job advertisement. And for Form 1, the text will be non-linear to help them to have some kind of ease to read. They don't have to really digest from lengthy lines.
Yep.
Okay. So the questions next to it, from number 25 to 32, 8 questions. 25 till 28 are the questions that required them to identify true or false based on the information they read from the text.
Alright, so this is an example of Form 1
Form
questions.
1 questions. Okay, for question number 29 until 32, they are going to fill up the gap to complete the sentence based on the information from the text.
Okay, understood. Can I try one question?
Oh, yes, sure, Chris.
Okay.
Would you like to try the true false or the sentence completion?
the true false.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's try question 25. So people interested in applying for the job can apply through phone.
People interested in
Yep.
working at the center
Yep.
can
Apply
apply
through
by phone.
by phone.
Okay, is it true or false?
Based on what we see on the job advertisement over here, at the bottom, it says interested applications, you can go through, send an email, or there's even a phone number. So, I would say it's true.
Yes, Chris, that's correct.
Okay, got
Good
it.
try.
Thank you very much, Miss.
Okay. Alright, so moving on to the sample item for Form 2 and Form 3, can we?
Yep, sure.
Okay. Okay, for Form 2 and Form 3, they are going to read a linear text. Okay?
Linear text, okay.
Alright, and they are going to answer questions, short answer questions, and also vocabulary questions. For short answer question, it's the same like what from the student Form 1 students going to answer. Okay, to put not more than 5 words based on the information from the text.
I see.
Okay, however, for the vocabulary question, okay, they are going to identify a word for each based on the meaning given in this table. Okay, so 8 short answer questions and 2 vocabulary questions.
All right. So,
Okay.
how much time would you recommend a pupil to go through this part 4, for example, for Form 2 and Form 3, like based on your experience?
Maybe they require somehow like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, and remember, they should be reread and reread the text a few times in order to ensure that they
Yeah,
find the exact information.
Okay, understood.
Alright, moving on to part 5. Okay, for part 5, the students are going to read an extended text and fulfill the gap between the text. Okay. And as you can see, again, Chris, for Form 1, the students are going to answer 8 questions. For Form 2 and Form 3, 6 questions.
Okay.
And still there are
Following the level, is it?
different
levels.
different layout for the
Oh, okay.
question in part 5.
All right.
Okay, alright, so let's look at the sample question first. Okay, this is the sample item for part 5. Okay, for part 5 and Form 1. Okay, students are going to read the text here, and in every paragraph there's a gap.
Okay.
And there's options listed down there, A, B, C, D. So the students need to go through to read through the text and identify which answers here, which sentence here fits into these gaps.
I see.
Okay. Same goes with the next one. Okay, from E till H for the second text.
All right. So this is for Form 1.
For Form 1.
8 questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, for Form 2 and Form 3, the students are going to see only one extended text
Oh, okay.
with 6 gaps.
6 gaps. Okay.
Yeah. Okay? And as you can see here on the options, there are still A until H, meaning there are 8 sentences here. However, only 6 will fit into this text.
Oh, wow.
The other 2 do not belong to the text,
Yep.
and they are there to distract the student.
Yeah, wow. Very tricky indeed.
Yeah, and just to make this task more difficult.
Yeah, more challenging for the upper levels, right? Well, Miss Hafi, could you also share with us some tips or reminders for pupils who will be taking this exam paper?
Okay, actually, the students, when they read the question, they go through the question, when they attempt the question,
Yeah.
they tend to write on the pages itself.
Okay.
So they might circle on the MCQ there, they might write the words on the close or on the space given there. But remember, before the time ends, before the 90 minutes ends, the students have to copy all their answers from the pages in front onto the answer sheet at the end of the question paper.
Oh,
okay.
okay. So just make sure we have our answer sheet filled. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Miss Hafi. Is it okay if we take a short break before we proceed?
Oh, please. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So for those watching, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Pentaksiran Sumatif with Miss Hafi for Pentaksiran Bahasa Inggeris Menengah Rendah.
Okay.
everyone, you are watching Pentaksiran Sumatif for Pentaksiran Bahasa Inggeris Menengah Rendah with me, Chris MJ, as well as Miss Hafi. Alright, Miss, so for this next segment, what is going to be our focus?
Okay, we are going to look at paper 2, writing, code 12/2.
Alright.
Okay, and in this paper, Chris, okay, the students are going to answer 2 parts.
2 parts.
Okay, mean that there are 2 questions, and this question must be completed within 1 hour. Okay, and the questions are pitched at A2 to B1 CEFR levels.
Okay.
And all questions are going to be answered in the question paper itself.
In the question paper itself. Got it.
Okay, so let's look at the first question, part 1. Okay, this question requires the student to write about 80 words based on the text given.
Okay.
Okay, so let's read the question together, Chris. I would like you to identify few information from this question.
Alright. So read the message from your English-speaking friend Alex. Hi, I'm thinking of starting a new hobby. I could do cooking, cycling, or painting, or maybe something else. What should I do? Let me know what you think, Alex. So
Okay, Chris, can you identify what important information that students should focus in order to write their response?
I would say hobby is a keyword, a new hobby, and let me know what you think.
Okay.
So our opinion.
Alright, thank you, Chris. Okay, for this particular question, actually, the students have to write a response to a friend who is just trying to have new hobby, to start new hobby. So the students should give advice on which hobby that
Alex should try.
Advice, and
okay.
give some justification.
Okay.
Alright, as you could see there, it's stated there 80 words.
Yeah.
Okay, so alright, moving on to next one.
Okay, 80 words.
Okay, for part 2. Okay, for part 2, the students are going to write a response based on the mind map given.
Alright.
Okay, and their response is expected to be at certain number of words. Okay. As you can see here, this is the sample item for Form 1.
Yep.
Okay, for Form 1, they are going to write a response based on 3 points.
Yep.
Okay, for 70 to 90 words.
Yep.
Okay, for Form 2, they are going to find 4 points.
Yep.
And they are going to write between 80 and 100 words.
Alright.
And last one for Form 3, they are going to write 5 points for about 100 to 120 words.
Miss, why is there a word count difference for this part?
Okay, because of the because of the levels of CFR. Okay, for Form 1, they have limited number of words covered and also limited surrounding ideas.
I see.
Compared to Form 2 and Form 3.
I see. Okay, thank you very much, Miss. Well, looks like we have almost come to the end of today's episode.
Okay.
But before we even end today's session, maybe you could share with us a rough summary of what we have all discussed today. Go ahead.
Okay, we have discussed today on the components that you could see in paper 1, reading and use of English, as well as paper 2, the writing papers. So please remember, okay, to write your answers for paper 1, 12/1, onto the answer sheet at the back of the questions. And remember your word counts. Okay, the word counts is going to help you to make sure you insert all the information required.
All right, there you have it. Thank you very much, Miss Hafi, once again for today's very, very insightful session. And thank you for joining us only on Pentaksiran Sumatif. Don't go anywhere and keep watching Didik TV KPM. Bye, everyone.
Bye.